Let's talk about the first date I went on after my divorce. I waited 5.5 years to start dating again after I got divorced the second time. It wasn't because I wasn't interested in dating, it was because it never even occurred to me. No joke. Didn't even cross my mind. Not one time, because I was so busy raising my kids, who were 14, 9, and 4 at the time, in three different schools. By the time I was ready to even think about it, 17 years had passed since I had been on an actual first date with somebody. 17 years. And here's the thing that nobody told me about going back to dating after that long. The entire landscape had changed. The last time I had dated, you met people in person. You met them through friends, at work, at a bar, somewhere in real life. There was no such thing as online dating. I had never done it. I didn't know the etiquette. I didn't know what to expect. And the idea of talking to and then meeting in person a complete stranger felt really strange to me. I was also scared. All of it scared me, if I'm being totally honest. I was worried about my safety. I was worried he wouldn't like me. I was worried I'd show up and there would be just nothing there, and that he wasn't there when I got to where we scheduled to meet. Plus, I've never been really thin or even thin in my life. So, underneath all of that was this quiet worry: is my weight going to be the reason this doesn't go anywhere? I want you to sit with all of that for a second because I think many of you know exactly what some or all of those worries kind of feel like. But here's what I've known about myself for a very long time, that even on my most afraid days, the days that I am most afraid, I'm a feel the fear and do it anyway kind of girl. I probably learned it from being in direct sales for so many years and having to step outside of my comfort zone. You know, when you ask somebody to buy the products. So I knew that if I really wanted to meet somebody, sitting at home being scared wasn't going to do that for me. The only way to meet someone was to put myself out there, even in this new crazy way of doing things. So that's what I did. And the date, it went well. We had talked on the phone a few times before we met, since this was way before you could talk on the apps. So the conversation was pretty easy. There wasn't that awkward stranger energy, I guess you could say. We ended up dating for about 5 months. And I know it shouldn't have lasted even that long for many reasons, but I learned something from it. I learned something from every single person I had ever dated or even just went on one date with. That's actually a rule I made for myself really early on when I was dating. If I was going to take the time to talk to somebody, I went on the date. And what I mean by that is I didn't spend weeks and weeks texting with somebody. We scheduled a date. I didn't talk myself out of it unless I got this weird vibe and felt something felt off. I went because when I first started dating, it was practice. It was just practice because you never know. And that's what I want you to hear today. Not that the date was perfect, it wasn't, and it didn't lead anywhere lasting, but I showed up scared and I did it anyway. And the more often I did that, the more comfortable I got every single time. If I had let that fear win, if I had waited until I felt ready, until the worry about my weight went away, until meeting a stranger didn't feel strange anymore, I'd probably still be waiting because that feeling doesn't just disappear on its own. That experience taught me something that I truly, truly believe. Confidence in dating isn't a feeling you wait for. It's a decision you make before the feeling shows up. So today I want to break down what that actually means because I think most of us have it backwards. Most women think confidence means walking into a date feeling calm and certain and completely at ease, feeling good about themselves. No nerves, no second guessing, just confident. But that, my friend, is not what confidence is. That is the absence of fear. And waiting for the absence of fear before you do something hard is how women stay stuck for years. Even after my 5.5 years of being in mom mode, and then finally being ready to date again, I wasn't fearless. I was scared the entire time leading up to that first date and many first dates after that. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is doing the thing while the fear is still right there next to you. It's showing up to the date, even though you're worried about your weight or whatever thing you're worried about. It's sending the message, even though you might get no response. It's meeting the stranger, even though the whole format of dating apps feels strange and crazy out there and uncomfortable. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to be willing. And here's the trap that we tell ourselves. Once I feel more confident, I'll start dating again. Once I lose weight, once my kids leave for college, once I have more money, once I figure out how this whole online thing works, once I feel less rusty. But confidence doesn't arrive before the action, it arrives because of the action. It's kind of like motivation. You can wait around to feel motivated from the inside before you start, or you can start, see some results, and let those results create the momentum and the motivation. Sometimes you just have to decide. Confidence works exactly the same way. I didn't feel confident before that first date after my divorce. I felt confident after because I had actual evidence that I could do it. Every date after that one got a little easier, not because I had transformed overnight, but because I had proof. I had done the scary thing and survived it. That's where confidence comes in. Not from feeling ready, from doing it without feeling ready and collecting the evidence afterwards. So if you're waiting to feel ready before you put yourself out there, I need you to hear me. That feeling is not coming first. The action comes first. The feeling follows. So I want you to be really clear about something because there's a version of showing up anyway that does backfire, and that's performance. Performance is when you show up and pretend that the fear isn't there. You put on this version of yourself that you think he wants to see. You hide your nervousness, you don't ask the real questions you really want to ask, and you present a polished version of you instead of being an honest, authentic person. That is not confidence. That is a costume. And it's not cool for either one of you. Real confidence lets the nerves be visible. So when I went on that first date, I didn't pretend I wasn't out of practice. I didn't pretend 17 years hadn't passed by. I just showed up as myself, a little rusty, a little nervous, and completely honest about where I was because acting is exhausting. It takes too much energy and it attracts the wrong outcome anyway because you're not actually being seen since you're not being yourself. Confidence lets you be seen while you're still a little afraid. That's the version that actually works. And that's what the right man wants for you anyway. He certainly doesn't want a pretend version of you. And if he does, you can move on to the next one because I doubt that's the type of guy you want to be with anyway. What I want you to take away from my story is the reason I went on that date is that even with all that fear sitting with me, it's because I made a decision, not a feeling, a decision. I acted. I decided that meeting somebody mattered more than staying comfortable. That's self-leadership. It's the practice of leading yourself toward what you want, even when the fear is loud and the confidence hasn't shown up yet. You don't wait for permission from your emotions. You take action, and your emotions, don't worry about them. They'll catch up later, I promise. Every woman I've ever coached who built real dating confidence did it this way. Not by waiting to feel different, but by deciding to act differently and letting the feelings follow. So here's a little challenge for you that I want you to do this week. Pick one small thing that scares you just a little bit. It doesn't have to be something huge, just something that makes your stomach do that little flip and feel those butterflies. Could be updating a photo on your profile. Could be saying yes to a date with somebody that you'd normally talk yourself out of. And do it scared. Don't wait until the fear goes away. because it won't, at least not before you act. Do the thing and then notice how you feel afterwards. That feeling, that little bit of, I did it, is the beginning of real confidence. Not the kind you perform, the kind you earn. Remember, confidence isn't a feeling that shows up one day and just hangs around forever. It's a practice. And every time you choose yourself, every time you show up scared and do it anyway, you build a little bit more of that confidence muscle. I built mine one uncomfortable first date at a time. 17 years of rust, a worry about my weight that never really fully went away, and I still showed up. A dating world I totally didn't understand yet, and I still showed up. You don't need to wait to feel ready. Please don't. You could be waiting a long time. You just need to start. And if you're ready to stop doing this alone, I'm building something exactly for this. It's called the Becoming Her Sisterhood, and it's a membership for women over 50 who are done waiting and ready to do this work together. It's launching soon, and the waitlist link is in the comments. So get on it so you're the first to know when the doors open. And while you're there, comment the word guide, and I'll send you my new free guide, 5 Lies Women Over 50 Believe About Love and the Truth That Changes Everything. It might be just exactly what you need to read today. And if this video helped you, please subscribe, because every week on this channel, we talk about real love, real growth, and what it takes to create the relationship you deserve. Because your best relationship starts with you. And drop a comment below, because I want to hear, what is one thing, just one thing, that scares you a little bit about dating right now? I'll see you next week.